Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist is the sequel to the 2021 release Ender Lily's Quietus of the Night. It's an amazing game for Metroidvania fans that has a lot to offer, but is it worth picking up right now? Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Mabi, and this is going to be my review of Ender Magnolia. So this game is a dark fantasy Metroidvania action RPG side-scrolling game. It released on Steam, it's going for $20, launched in early access, and it came out March 25th, 2024. So what's the gameplay all about? What's the core and loop? So as mentioned, this is a dark fantasy setting. It's a world filled with dread, with beings called the homunculi living along beside humans here. It is definitely not clear of their purpose. Perhaps they did coexist with humans, but many have gone mad due to something called the Mist. You play as an attuner. These attuners can bond and help homunculi. Basically, you're going to be regaining their sanity and take control of their powers. And the goal is to not just regain your memories, but also your homunculi memory that you're saving. So, the basic overall gameplay kind of goes like this. It's your typical Metroidvania. You have a gigantic map that you're going to be exploring and unlocking over the course of the game. Backtracking with your new abilities as you go on. You're going to be gaining experience killing monsters, finding loot, putting on different equipments, and of course lots of secrets to find. There's NPCs to talk to, shops to interact with, the usual stuff. If I say, a Metroid game or Hollow Knight, you kind of get the point. It's really close to that. So let's talk about the combat and exploration in a little more detail. You're going to be running, jumping, dodging, fast traveling. You're going to get a double jump pretty early on in the game as well. Your main character doesn't really attack on their own, but instead they do use the homunculi that they end up recruiting. You can summon them at will. You can bind them to different controller buttons to attack and defend. You got slash combos, you got countering, applying normal buffs and debuffs. There's different enemy types in the game. There's normal enemies, mini bosses, and then gigantic bosses, which are the story points. And when you defeat those bosses, you end up getting a new ability to help you backtrack and move the story further along. Every enemy has a stun gauge, so basically when you hit them enough times, they become a little more vulnerable and you can just wail on a lot of damage. So that's the core and the gameplay loop. Explore, fight, unlock, and then repeat. Nothing crazy there. Let's move on to the pluses and minuses. What did I like and dislike with this game? So I think, starting with the good stuff first, the game takes a lot of good aspects from tons of other Metroidvanias that I think really work well together. So to start with, I think the player and enemy interaction is good here. The controls are smooth and it definitely plays as expected. I felt like I was just jumping back in to a really good 2D platformer. It's really nice tight controls. You get access to double jump early on. I think there's a good amount of invincibility frames on your dodge. It feels fair when you do get hit though, because enemies have a really easy to see telegraph attack. This game has no contact damage, and I think people are iffy on that, a little 50-50. Obviously, the contact damage is still around in some games today, and it does feel a little more retro to always have that, but in this game, there is none there, so which I personally do like this way. And the reason being is it gives more room to experiment with dodging enemies and actually running around larger enemies. And because the telegraphs are so large, I feel like there shouldn't be an issue there. It feels more modern in a sense. Next up, I did love the overall look and feel and the package of the game. Wonderful art aesthetics. I mean, like, it's really good. The dark fantasy anime theme just works here. Good animations on your character, the homunculi, and the enemies. The character designs are pretty sick. Good environments too. So basically, the overall feel of the game is dark and gloomy, which I really don't like. I don't like it in a lot of games half the time, but here I think there's enough of a contrast with the several different shades of gray, red, and blue. It can be dark and gloomy, but then you can also have a lot of personality in your world. It feels like, last year one of my game of the years, definitely the top 3, was Lies of P, and that game was just good to look at too. This game, though it's not a Souls-like, It has that sort of overall feel. Dark and gloomy, but the glimmer of hope and mystery, which I really like about this. The music too, insanely good, insanely good. There's a lot of tracks here that just give you the feels. You know, for example, gloomy but beautiful. Like, I don't know how to explain, you just have to listen to it yourself. Next up, I guess exploration and the upgrading here. It's a constant rewarding. Nothing feels like, oh, this is grindy, I don't want to do this. You know, like, why do I have to, you know, why is it this way? Like, I didn't get any of that feel. So every time you kill an enemy, you get experience, you get materials, then all the shops, they have meaningful equipment purchases. Your ability upgrades per homunculi makes a difference. You get to choose which of your homunculi is your favorite. Which one are you going to be using your materials to upgrade with? Because they're not, you know, they're not infinite. You have to make a choice here. And looking for secrets in this game provides permanent health buffs. And you can also find little mini bosses as well to give you much more better loot. So a lot of good things about this game. Moving over to the bad stuff, the minuses. What did I dislike? So I'm gonna be honest. There is not a lot that I disliked here. I think they did a good job. But if I were to nitpick anything at all, I would say no voice acting. So I'm not sure if this is something that they plan to add in the future. And it feels like if they did do it, it would be a cherry on top, you know. But if they don't do it, they should really slow down the text and cutscenes. They move way too fast sometimes, especially the opening cutscene. That was a little annoying. And then I guess the other thing that's bad, and that goes without saying, that it's early access. I hate that it launched in early access. I do get it. You know, I get it. They need those early funds and feedback from the community. It just sucks that you gotta wait. You know, it's definitely not done. There's a lot of missing content. I had to actually stop playing because I kept running into areas where they said, oh, you know, it's not in the early access yet. But it's a good problem, right? It's a good problem to want more from a game. It just sucks that it's early access. So I recommend that you guys, you know, if you're interested, you've seen the footage, you like Metroidvanias, you beat Hollow Knight, you're going to like this for sure. I recommend to buy early, play for an hour or two, give a review, giving your feedback. What did you like? What you dislike? So they know. You know, this is a good developer, and it seems like they do care about what people think. So play it, check it out, but absolutely don't overdo it. Wait until version 1.0. So my overall thoughts? Man, such a good game, dude. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play the first one, but looking at some screenshots and gameplay, it has that sort of feel. And now this one comes out 3 years later, so I'm sure they're taking all the experience that they got and just making a good sequel. So it's a great game. So guys, check it out. Let me know down below. And of course, if you guys want to see my gameplay of it, there's a link in the description to my Let's Play channel. You head over to my Twitch. And I also have a TCG channel if you want to see us play like One Piece or, you know, Dragon Ball Z or anything like that. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the game, and I'll see you next time. Bye.